Namaste, Ma.
Namaste, beta.
Thank you for giving us an opportunity to have a lovely chat with you here in the UAE.
It's my pleasure.
So we would like to know, Ma, we always hear about health tips from you and a lot more about yoga for the physical and mental well-being. Could you please emphasize the importance of yoga philosophy, yoga sutras in daily life, in today's life? How are they relevant for us?
Well, do you understand that in Yoga Sutras, everything is given? It talks about how to live life. Very practical book, very intense book, 196 lines, that's all. And here is a whole textbook which tells you how to live life. Yoga Sutra touches on various aspects of life. First of all, how to deal with mind and how this chatterbox has to stop. The definition by itself is Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodham. Complete mastery over mind is yoga. Balanced state of mind is yoga. Excellence in work is yoga. All that is understood with Yoga Sutras. Then Yoga Sutra talks about how the type of minds we have. Various people have various types of mind. Everybody can't be the same. We are not from the same machine. And some mind is dull mind, some mind is toxic mind, some mind is restless mind, some mind is focused mind. And so when you have focused mind, then you can develop yourself. Till then, no. So we have to deal with mind to see that they come to focus state. That's why yoga has technology also, which tells you, come on, stay in one position. Sthirasya sukham iti asanam. Stay steady and be in a steady state. When body becomes steady, slowly mind also will become steady. So that's a training which yoga gives again. And it talks about abhyasa, perseverance and vairagya, detachment from everything else. That's the path. Then the most important other aspect in yoga is, which is not there in any other philosophy, is place of God. The place of God, something else is required to move ahead in life, some higher guidance, some presence of something which is more giving you strength. And that is the place of God. What is God in yoga is? God is a model. God is something which has no kleshas. God doesn't do any karmas. God doesn't want anything. God is Sarva Shaktiman, available everywhere, all the time. Every corner God is there. Whatever we do, the beginning and the end is God. So all these things are mentioned. And then they talk about self-development to reach to the higher level of consciousness, where you are completely in a state where nothing material, nothing disturbs your mind, is absolutely in blissful state. So all these things, so practical things, are there in yoga.
Right.
And
right.
so this book becomes very, very important book.
Right. So, Ma, when you are saying about God, there are people who are atheists and yet want to do yoga.
Yes.
So, can they term the word God as higher reality?
Yes. Atheist is just a term people use. Everybody, I feel, they use the word God also, those who are using the word God, but they don't believe in God. Because if you believe in God, you will not worry, you will not get into tension, you will not get into anxiety, you will not cry when things don't happen according to your way. The whole concept changes, but people don't follow. They say we believe in God, they go to temple, churches, mosques, they do puja part. That is not believing in God, that is showing to the world that you are God, with God. Actually, yoga is not a religion at all. Yoga just tells you how to live life, how to keep your mind focused, how to develop yourself, how to become self-reliant yourself, uplift yourself. So that is yoga. So this yoga should be learnt by every human being, because we are born, we don't even know how to live,
Right.
what to think, what to do in life. So here is the path of yoga.
Yes.
Yoga is not a religion. Religion is something which comes into the world when humanity is suffering and some wise person comes at that era, at that time, and wise person tells that, come on, follow this path and you will be free from pain and suffering. So you start following that path. You take that wise person as something like God,
Right.
because he has shown you the path, or a great guru. But well,
Right.
that restricts you. Your whole openness is gone. Then you say my God is better than your God, because in your era some another person has come and he has shown you some path.
Right.
And so then it starts mine and yours. My God's name is this, shape and size is this type of a clothes he wears, and we get into a mess.
Right. Right.
Yoga says go beyond this religion.
Yes.
Don't get into religion.
Yes.
I would very strongly tell everybody that become religious person, become a spiritual. Religious means spiritual person.
Religiously
not
spiritual.
A religious, not a religious
Yes.
person.
Yes.
Religious, you are bound.
Yes.
But in spirituality, you are unbound.
Yes,
Totally
yes.
different.
So you're saying practice spirituality religiously.
Exactly. You are clever. Very good.
Yes.
Practice spirituality religiously, and in my religion we don't do this, and in your religion don't get into that.
Yes.
If at all you want to follow somebody, that's your internal affair.
Yes.
If I believe in some God, I believe it. I don't have to tell others for it.
Right.
And fine.
Right.
It should never be externalized. It should be interiorized.
Yes. Yes.
And if it is interiorized, all fights between religion will go away.
Right, right. Ma, so you the other day were giving an interview for a magazine, and you mentioned about somebody asked you about the origin of yoga, and people have this myth that yoga belongs to India, and then you gave such a beautiful explanation about how yoga began when human was born. Can you please emphasize on the history of yoga?
See, when we talk about when yoga was there in our life, as long as humans were living like animals, there was no yoga. Because you are hungry, because then a person lives instinctively. You are hungry, you think about food. You are thirsty, you think about water. In a particular season, you want to reproduce. And this is about how it is an instinctive behavior. Humans have two things in them. One, of course, instinctive behavior, which can supersede intellect. Intellect can supersede all this behavior. Once you start thinking that I am hungry, but then what should I eat? How much should I eat? What food is good for me, bad for me? Once I start using my intellect, my understanding, my intelligence, then I have started yoga in my life. So in other words, yoga started when civilization started. When humans started thinking that I do eat, but then after some time I'll get hungry again. Then till I find the food, I will be hungry. So I will be in pain. So to avoid pain, to avoid suffering, to avoid problems, you start developing yourself. So here is a civilization. You make your own house, not now live in jungle. You wear clothes, you grow things. So all these things happen. You get cow near you so that you have milk and all these things. All that started and yoga started.
Right.
Think before doing any action. Keep purpose in mind before doing your action, and that is yoga.
Right.
So yoga is as old as civilization.
Right.
It has nothing to do with India or America or Germany or anything. It is civilization.
Right.
Now where the civilization was early, yoga was early. We don't separate these words. It is that.
Right.
Think, use your intellect before your emotions.
Right, right. So I would like to ask you on this, what is your take on the 4 different paths of yoga that are written in our Yoga Institute teacher training curriculum as well?
Yes.
That there is the Jnana Yoga as a path, there is Karma Yoga, this action of selfless dedication, there is Bhakti Yoga, devotion, and also Raja Yoga, and Hatha Yoga is very much a part in all of this.
Hatha Yoga, Raj Yoga goes.
Yes. So what is your take on Bhakti Yoga, the importance, and people mix up and they start thinking just because somebody is saying a prayer or chanting or saying a mantra that they associate it with some kind of religion.
Yes,
so
again.
why do we have the emphasis on mantras in yoga classes? Could you emphasize on that?
See, all these things are important for human life. For human life, you need to deal with emotions.
Right.
And emotions should be channelized. They should be emotions for higher reality.
Right.
So here comes the path of bhakti. You need to be physically active and all that. So here is a path of karma yoga. You do your part with best of your capacity, but you don't know the result, what will come. So that's the karma yoga philosophy. It has to come in. You need to take care of your body. And body gets into trouble sometimes. You fall down and your legs are paining. Now you should do something about it, and so on and so forth. and if some problem remains, how to deal with it, and again train your body to become normal and healthy. All that is also part of it. So here comes a little Hatha Yoga part, and Hatha Yoga and Raj Yoga. Hatha Yoga, external yoga and internal yoga. Hatha Yoga is external, Bahiranga, and Raj Yoga is internal, Antaranga. We have to develop both sides of ours. We slowly, as we grow, we don't have to do too many asanas and pranayams and all that. It becomes a natural phenomenon.
Yes.
In the beginning, for a child, you have to do so many things. Surya Namaskar, this,
Right.
that, churn your stomach here and there. But as you grow,
Evolve.
all this is evolve. All this becomes
Right.
so natural for
Yes.
you that you don't have to do too many things.
Yes.
But you have to go more internal
Yes.
and deal with your mind.
Right.
So importance of all these things are there in our life.
Yes.
So all this yoga comes into life, and that's why Patanjali has given a very systematic path, eightfold path, which is called as Ashtanga Yoga, which
Yeah.
is given in Patanjali Yoga Sutra.
Yes. Yes.
Type of people,
Yes.
type of this. So this is eightfold path, which is for prani matra. Every human should be following this path.
Yes.
First, to see that you have some system with the external world. Don't get bothered and bugged up with the external world. So you have some discipline. Don't hurt others and don't get hurt.
Right.
Getting hurt another. Ahimsa, main thing. Yoga begins with ahimsa.
Right.
Entire Jainism is ahimsa. Yoga begins with ahimsa. And then satya, truthfulness, asteya, non-stealing. Somebody has worked hard, he will take it, you don't grab it.
But today everybody is taking credit
Yes.
and nobody is giving credit back
That
to
is the-
anybody.
and
In
that
fact,
creates problem and
Yes.
stress and tension.
Yes.
And then control over all your sensory organs, brahmacharya. And too much of me and mine, if you do, you will not have time to go internal only. Then you will have to handle me and mine. So aparigraha, less and less of me and mine. That's the first step. And then niyama, discipline, routine, which Ayurveda talks a lot about and yoga talks about it.
Yes.
What do you do whole day?
Yes.
When should you wake up? What type of food you eat in morning, evening, afternoon, and all these things I talk about. Tapa, Swadhyaya, Ishwar Pranidhan, very much yogic technique.
Yes.
Here comes bhakti. Here comes reading, chanting of mantras.
Yes.
Because person should be doing these things in a routine. Spend some time to just sit and be with that nature. Mantras are very much derived from nature.
Right.
Actually, some mantras you don't see any meaning in that. Om, Rim, Klim. Okay, no meaning. But that sound, Rim, Klim, these sounds, that itself vibrates your system from internal. Mantras have a great effect. It has a great strength to rest your mind.
Right.
For mind, this sound, mantra, very much useful. So something which holds you is mantra. Something which protects you is mantra.
Right.
So that is, and so that is very much part of our day-to-day routines.
Yes.
Which comes in niyamas,
Right. Right.
and then asanas, then pranayams.
Yes.
So people start doing asana right in the beginning and they forget these things. That asana will not have much effect.
Correct.
They will just remain a circus.
And nowadays yoga
personality.
equals asana,
Ah.
not the rest of the limbs.
That's it. And so the
Yes.
whole problem, we should all at the Yoga Institute, that's why we are working hard to see that people understand that first thing is to handle the mind and manage with the external world, and then go in,
Right.
certain things to overpower your weaknesses of your body, your energy, and then go internal.
Right.
That is the path.
Right. So if anybody wants to know these mantras, meditations, sounds, guided techniques, it's all available on the Institute's app, the Nispan, the app.
Exactly.
And I think it's a very beautiful app. A lot of teachers have
It's a
contributed.
guided meditation.
Yes.
Meditation connects you from yourself to the universal self.
Right, right. Ma, you mentioned about Ashtanga Yoga. So nowadays people often ask, okay, what style of yoga are you teaching? And they've forgotten what path of yoga, but style and asana. And they're talking about the asana style probably.
Yeah.
And
That is a modern language.
correct.
They don't even know what they
So there
are
are
asking
new
for.
names that have come up, power yoga, vinyasa flows, and Ashtanga yoga. And
Hot
could you?
yoga,
Yes, hot yoga.
kickboxing yoga,
Correct.
Sufi
So-
yoga. yoga word is used everywhere.
So, could you just emphasize that how, for example, the sequence of asanas, maybe some teacher has given the name Ashtanga to it as a reverence to the sequence.
Yes.
Or if some teacher said, okay, this is vinyas, means is flowing. So, as a sequence, he said, okay, this is giving you a flowing effect in the asana. That's how it doesn't become a separate form of yoga. So, if you could explain that to the
yoga
people.
is yoga. You
Yes.
are just separating one little part and calling that yoga. It is like, here is a dog. You show the tail and you say this is dog. No, whole dog has to be understood.
Correct. So all these
it is
different
like that.
styles of practicing and moving the body is not yoga.
No.
And yoga is complete only when one understands the philosophy, the psychology
It is the
and
holistic
technique.
approach.
Correct.
You have to have a holistic approach in life.
Yes.
You can't be just one or two. And that we have to learn in life. When that is missing, that creates a problem. That's why I've written a book also, 7
Yes.
rules of yes. And we have to reset our life now. And how to reset, I have given that in 7
Yes.
books. But this is what I find is dangerous. People become so selfish. I want my time to do my asana. I want my time for meditation. I am doing pranayam. Nobody should disturb me. Yoga doesn't go like that.
Right.
You can't expect the world to behave according to your wish. So, we should know that what we are teaching is classical yoga. Yoga which was taught right in the beginning, tradition, where Krishna went to Sandipani ashram, Ram went to Vashishta ashram. All the gurus of ashram were householders, family men, husband, wife, children, their livelihood, their field, their property, their cows and all that. And children were looking after and learning according to their needs. If you are a king, you are going to rule the state, then you have to learn all the art of fighting and all those things. If you are a Brahmin, then you have to learn more hymns, more of Sanskrit and all those type. And basic to every child would be learning. But all this is how earlier yoga was. Then it became very different.
Right.
And now to it is into totally an external.
Yes.
Internal is lost somewhere.
Yes.
So peace is gone, joy
Yes.
is gone, happiness is gone, health is gone, everything is gone.
Hansaji,
So we
could
have
you-
to bring
yeah.
it back.
Hansaji, could you emphasize on the kind of ambience that a yoga room should have? Because nowadays what we see is people practice in closed rooms, dark rooms with no air, and at the institute it's an aired out with the room with so many windows,
Absolutely.
no ACs, no culture of fancy mats, and straw mats are used, and we are learning such simple techniques and so effective. And could you explain that one does not need all of this?
No. As far as mind and management is concerned, you don't need any specific thing. As far as technology, body, asanas, pranayam is concerned, you have to be in touch with nature. So open, fresh air.
Yeah, adapt your body to what the
Adapt your
temperature
body
is.
to the nature is. If temperature is too hot, be in a room. But you should be in touch with nature. Open air to breathe fully and all that. And clothes, tight clothes and all that, just to look nice in camera. You don't wear all these things. You are normal. I am doing everything in my sari.
Sari, absolutely.
All the time sari.
Ma, when I was doing the teacher training at the institute so many years back, 15 years back, 17 years back, I remember that there were loose pants that we were
Absolutely.
wearing, and there was no culture of wearing tight clothes and doing yoga because it had more ease in movement actually.
No demands, no particular type of shoes and colors and bikinis and not at all. That's not yoga. You are binding again like how we are binding in religion. You are binding like this,
Yes.
which is, we have to be unbound.
Yes.
And so once you start living, yoga becomes part of your personality. You live yoga. You
Right.
don't do yoga.
Right.
You live yoga.
Right.
So how do you live yoga? You think before action. You organize your life. You plan. You see to it that if what I decided at this time, I'll do this, but not possible because here is a child who is sick, I have to be there. Or you should be available to society for service. And whenever you find time, what you can do, what not. It's all that. Total adjustment, total surrender to reality, and using this technology for your, well-being. All that has to be done. No rigidity, no fixation in any area, and that's yoga.
Thank you. Can I ask you one small question on
Please,
Sankhya?
please.
Ma, could you just explain the relevance and importance of Sankhya philosophy?
Okay.
What does Sankhya mean in Sanskrit?
Okay. Actually, the word Sankhya means Sankhya, number. How many things are there with which we are structured? Our body has come up. We have come up. So, in our body, we have 5 Gyanendriya, 5 Karbendriya, 5 pranas, and all that mana, ahankar, all that becomes chitta. And so, all such details are given in prana. And we are soul. Soul is called as consciousness. In Sankhya, they don't use the word God at all. They call it consciousness, soul. And so it is Purusha. They use the word Purusha. And then say, in yoga they use the word Purush Vishesh for God, but in Sankhya it's only Purush. And so that's the only difference. Majority is yoga. Yoga and Sankhya go hand in glove. But Sankhya philosophy exactly tells you how we developed, how our body, how we developed actually, all Pancha Mahabhut, 5 elements with which we are made up of. All that theory you learn from Sankhya, and it is very interesting to learn. And that's why at the Yoga Institute we teach Sankhya also. There are 6 philosophical thoughts in our country, which is called as Shad Darshan. So our country is Shad Darshan Shastras, and one of the darshan is Sankhya. Sankhya is a darshan shastra, philosophical path. Yoga is another darshan shastra. Vedanta is another shastra. Then there is Nyaya, Vaisheshik, and Purva Mimamsa. These are 6 philosophical thoughts. But yoga and Sankhya, they go hand in glove. And that's why yoga gives you the practical approach, Sankhya gives you the theory. It's like that. So yoga tells you that come on, now you have to leave your body's weight to the ground, relax, but you have to actually do it and feel that relaxation. That yoga would make you to do. So yoga becomes more an experiential science, not a theoretical science. Sankhya is theory, yoga is experience. So both together makes life perfect. Because then if you suffer, you know that you suffered because of your kleshas.
Right.
Then you don't take suffering so deeply.
So if I had to explain what you're saying to a common man, say if it's an engineering subject, they have to first study the theory, and then when they're doing the actual coding, that's the yoga, that's the practical. That's how it's hand in hand.
It has to.
Okay, lovely.
Okay.
Great.
So that's it.
Last question before we leave. You were honored by the Prime Minister of India, Mr. Narendra Modi, and it is, I'm sure you must have had a great experience because you're one of the rare women gurus, the female gurus, and could you please share your experience about that?
First of all, people think yoga means there has to be a man with beards and with some orange robes or white robes, and they think that is yoga guru. But I feel every human is a guru. Every human has all the capacity, all the potential to reach to a level when he is very happy, blissful, and his presence itself can help humanity and guide. Every human can do that. And so we should be very much clear in this area. Second is that when I met Prime Minister Narendra Modi, I was so glad to see him. And I felt that here I am standing in front of a tapasvi. He has done lots of tapasya in his life. And he looks tapasvi. And I told him that I am standing in front of tapasvi, and tapasvis can create miracles. And he is doing miracles.
So tapasvi is someone who is going through austerity.
Exactly. Yes. Tapasvi is someone where he is living yoga.
Right.
Not doing or anything. He still does some asana, some pranayam, but his whole life is surrendering, doing his part with best of his capacity. He doesn't look like any politician. Yes. He looks very different. Yes. So I was very glad, and if our country remains in his hands, you will see the difference in our country. Now people have started understanding yoga. People didn't know what yoga was earlier.
Right.
We were there since 104 years in Mumbai, in Bombay, Maharashtra. But very few people, those who would come and learn from us only would know, and that mouth to mouth publicity continued. There was nothing else we could do.
He brought
Still
the
we
real
continue.
yoga in front of the
He
people.
bought the real yoga, and that's the whole part.
Right,
So
right.
well, let's do our part,
Yes,
Sneha.
yes.
You are doing wonderful work here
Thank you.
in Dubai, and wherever you would be going now. If you go to London, you will be doing wonderful work there, and I am always there with you. Wherever you
thank
call,
you.
I am there with you.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you for gracing us, and
Yeah.
thank you so much, Ma. So, if anybody wants to study authentic yoga, practical and theory, the Yoga Institute is the school to go to, the best organization to learn from, the most authentic, prestigious one, and having accreditations from many yoga bodies in the world, which probably came into existence way before the Yoga Institute came into existence. So please connect with the Institute, and wherever we are, there are many affiliations all over the world now, and have a look at the Yoga Institute website. Thank you.